when I left that career in aerospace, people didn't understand it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't even really understand what I was getting into either. Yeah, so then I was like, you know what, dude? Like, I know what I'm capable of, and I'm not going to sit here and just wait 10 years for that job. So it was within about 6 months, I ditched my master's degree. We sold my brand new house that we had just built with my wife and I in California. We left one of my stepdaughters, Christina, in California because she wanted to stay. And we packed up and moved to Arizona.
Dang.
Like, it was just one of those times where it's like, I just knew it so clearly that I had to get out.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't for me to just sit here and wait anymore.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not taking you where you want to go, like, what is the point? Like, I knew I wanted to go here, and I knew that that path was not going to get me there, so I had to make some drastic changes and get out of that.
Welcome to Flying High with Cam,
Yayo.
a podcast where I combine two things I love.
This is insane.
Interviewing the most successful people I know
You're the baddest guy in town.
while flying helicopters.
Engine failure.
Fly with me. I want to hear your stories, learn from your experiences, and build a community. This is Flying High with Cam.
All right, welcome to Flying High with Cam, where I get to do two of the things that I absolutely love, fly helicopters and interview the most successful people. Today, I'm so excited. I got Just with me. This guy's changing lives. He's helping people accomplish things that, you know, they don't even know how to accomplish, that they don't know how to believe in themselves. They don't know how to get back on track. He's helping people from mental health to fitness, to being inspired on leaving that job if you want to leave and just get into the real world and be who you want to be, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, man. What a great studio.
It's different. It's different. Dude, before we get into all your success, like, talk to me about, like, who were you as a kid? Where did you grow up? All that fun stuff.
So I was born in Scranton, Pennsylvania. People always laugh because of the TV show, but I actually grew up out here. Moved out here when I was 5.
Okay.
So I did all my school out here through high school. We lived up in North Scottsdale for the most part. And then after high school, I was like, you know what? I'm done with school. I wasn't interested in college or anything, so I ended up joining the Navy and left right after high school for the Navy.
Were you a good student?
In the Navy or in high school?
Yeah, in high school.
I mean, I did okay.
Or you get C's, B's?
I got C's and B's, maybe an A or two here and there, but I just kind of like knew at the time that what I was learning didn't really matter.
Yeah.
I was like, why would I be so interested in learning like this crazy math? I'm not going to do a job that has me do this. Trust me.
Right.
You know, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
So I just kind of felt like as I was going through it, I understood why I was there, but I was also like, I feel like I don't need this. I feel like I could just get out and be all right.
I was kind of the same, man. I told my wife last night, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I graduated like a 2.4 GPA. She's like, no, you didn't. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it was. Like, maybe that was a little bit high.
Yeah, I don't know if I hit a 3 or not. I'll see if my mom knows.
Oh, man. Okay, so was your family in the Navy, or why the Navy?
So I was working, remember there used to be a Sam's Club over at Raintree in 101?
Okay.
It's not there anymore, but I was working there. I was like pushing carts and like working in the butcher and stuff like that. And, you know, getting ready to graduate high school, and I did not want to go to college.
Yeah.
So we're looking at things like ITT Tech and looking at these different things, and I was like, dude, not even like no. I was like, hell no, I don't want to do this, you know. And so my buddy comes into Sam's Club one day, and we were pushing carts together, and he's like, hey, I'm joining the Navy. And I was like, oh yeah. Oh, interesting. All right. So I went into the recruiter's office, and I went and talked to Marines, Air Force, Army, Navy, talked to everybody.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I think Navy does sound the best. So I ended up joining with him on a buddy program, which sent us to boot camp together. And that's what got me out of here and out of going to college originally. I did go to college, but just not right out of high school.
So where'd you guys go to boot camp?
So boot camp was in Great Lakes, Michigan, which was, I don't know if it's even there anymore, but I graduated on my 19th or 18th, my 19th birthday. Graduated on my 19th birthday. And we're flying over this boat. What's going on? This is crazy. Oh, this is so cool. Yeah, so I graduated on my 19th birthday in Michigan. And then my first assignment was out in Atsugi, Japan,
Really?
which was so cool. I got to go live in Japan for about 6 months. Worked on, aviation, so we worked on F-14 Alphas,
Dang.
the original Tomcat fighter jets.
Wow.
It was a blast. This is the closest I've come to a fighter jet right now. Flying on the lake.
We'll just get crazy.
This is so sick.
This is what I meant. It's going to be a perfect morning. Like, no wind. The temperature is perfect. Oh, look at this lake.
Wow. This is amazing.
So is that what kind of started? Because obviously, like, your brand is fitness. Like, you are fitness, man. Is that where it kind of all started?
That is where it started. And that's good of you. Yeah, so, what do they say about sailors? A couple things. They say you cuss and you drink, right? So I was in there, and it's true, by the way.
It's true, by the way.
Yeah. But, I was there. I was a sailor, and I was always a skinny kid growing up, and I didn't like it. I always got the comments of like, hey, Justin, you can eat whatever you want. You never gain a pound. And I was like, that's not a compliment.
Yeah.
I'm trying to eat everything so I can put some weight on. I don't want to be a skinny kid.
Right.
And so in the Navy, I really started to work out hard, finally started to put some muscle on. And my lifestyle to fit in with the Navy was essentially always in the gym, always running, always lifting weights.
Yeah.
But then when it was time to have a party and have some fun, like we just did that too.
How to do that too.
Yeah, so that's where the concept, or at least like it started for me, was like, if I'm going to go do this, I'm going to make sure that I'm really taking care of myself.
Yeah.
Because I know that going to this party this weekend it's not for my health, it's taken away from it. So I'm going to try to set myself up to be as healthy as possible, handle my responsibilities, make sure I'm actually ready to do that, and instead of just mindlessly drinking.
Yeah.
So that's where the concept first came from for Earn Your Booze, was literally how I lived my life as a sailor. And I basically carried that out into, Lockheed Martin afterwards, and everything I've ever done has just kind of kept that work hard, play hard mentality.
Yeah. That's so sick. How you feeling? You doing good?
It's amazing.
Okay. If you start to get sick, let me know.
Well, what's so cool about that down there, like you're cruising, I got used to that altitude, and I'm watching the boats, and then when you pull it up, I was like, oh yeah, we can do that too.
Oh yeah, we can do that too. That's what I love. Like we were going like 100 miles an hour right there too. It feels like you're going like 40.
No way. So to those boats, we're just screaming.
Yeah, we were just screaming. Like that guy was probably going 50, 60 miles an hour. And we just screamed past him.
I've come all the way back here. I used to have a boat that we brought out here a few times, and we parked right there.
Yeah, on the sand barge.
Yeah.
Yeah, we came out here last weekend. It gets really shallow right here.
Yeah, for sure.
So how long were you in the Navy for? What was that experience like?
Yeah, so I was in the Navy for 4 years. So I was assigned to a fighter squadron. It's called the Black Knights.
Okay.
When we were F-14s, it was called VF-154. So I went to Japan to work those, but I was only there for 6 months because those were so old. Some of them were from like Vietnam era. That we got rid of them, and we transitioned over to brand new F-18 Foxtrot, the 2-seater Super Hornets.
Okay.
So we left Japan and went to kind of like Central California, like Lemoore, which is kind of over by Bakersfield a little bit.
Okay.
Because wide open, corn or cotton fields and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I was assigned to a fighter squadron, which is cool because we got to work with the jets on land all the time. And then when it was time to go on a cruise, we would then go down to San Diego, go get on the ship, and go do a cruise.
That's cool.
But we didn't have to live on the ship like the ship's company did.
Yeah.
Like some of those guys, they stay on that boat basically almost year-round.
Jeez.
For the most part. But we were able to get on there, go cruise. So the one world cruise I did, we started in San Diego. We went all the way around the globe and ended up in Virginia.
How long did that take?
I think it's about 7.5 months.
That's so long.
Yeah.
Dude, after a week cruise, I'm like, get me off. That is crazy.
Yeah. Well, what's cool about that is you're working. So a lot of it is, it's 12 on 12 off 7 days a week.
Jeez.
So you're working, you're still doing your job you did on land with the fighter jet. So you're maintaining, the radar, the communications. I was a weapons check team leader. So we had to make sure all the weapons systems were ready for whatever we had to load up the next day.
Yeah.
And all of that. But the reason I got out was because even though it was fun, like when you're on the boat, you kind of hate it. It's kind of like prison.
Yeah.
Afterwards, you realize, oh, that was like the coolest thing I've ever done.
Right.
But I didn't want to be gone for 7 months out of the year, basically every year or every year and a half.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know how I'm supposed to have a family with something like that.
Right.
You know, so I ended up getting out after 4 years.
Okay.
And it was great. I'm glad I did it. Like, you know, that set me up then. I went to Lockheed after that, but that set me up to finally get my college degrees, and the career that set me for the next 10 years was the Navy.
So what made you want to go, like, you didn't love school, you didn't want to go to college, and then you went to the Navy, and then you're like, did you get out and you're like, hey, if I want a decent career, like, I believe I have to go to school?
Yeah, so here's kind of the funny thing is, so I joined the Navy to get away from school, but I went in as an avionics technician, which has some of the most school in the Navy. So I did have to go to a lot of school in there, but yeah. So when I got out, I didn't do any college when I was in, but when I got out, I had the GI Bill sitting there, and I did right away. I started at Lockheed Martin, working on the F-22 fighter jet.
Okay.
So sick. It was so sick, right?
Yeah.
And I got to run the engines on that thing, like 80,000 pounds of thrust behind you. It's just unbelievable. Yeah. But while I was doing that, I was like, well, I have the GI Bill, and I got time. And Lockheed at the time, maybe they do it now, I don't know, they allowed you to double dip.
Okay.
So the GI Bill paid for my tuition, and then Lockheed would reimburse me for the tuition that the GI Bill paid.
Dang.
So I started to double dip, and I was like, oh, I can actually make some pretty good money if I do this too.
Okay.
So that's when I got in. I got a bachelor's degree in technical management with a minor in aviation safety.
Yeah.
And then I started my master's degree, but I stopped my master's degree 3 classes shy of graduation. I was going to have a master's in aeronautical science.
Wow.
But I ditched it, and because I decided to ditch the whole aerospace career completely.
What? Why?
Yeah. Here we are in a helicopter. Yeah. This might be the most perfect setting to talk about this. You know? Yeah, so I got into Lockheed Martin, world's largest defense contractor, and I did 5 years on the F-22. Super cool.
So you're like 28 at this time, or
I was 22 when I started.
20, okay.
Yeah, so 22, 23 when I got in. Yeah, and then 5 years, so I got out about 27, 28.
Okay.
And so in flight tests, essentially what we're doing is we're testing literally everything on these brand new fighter jets. All the stealth technology.
So when you say you get to run the engines, like you're in the seat,
just like you're flying right now.
Dang.
Yeah. But on the ground, of course.
Right.
You know?
But still, man, like that's sick.
But we were testing weapons, we were testing speed, testing to see if the stealth coating would come off when you go real fast. Like, I mean, everything.
Wow.
So I did that for 5 years, and then I went over to F-35, and that's where I became a flight test control engineer. So I basically had my own F-35 fighter jet. I had my name painted on the side of, it was called BF-18, was my tail number.
Dang.
And basically, it was my job. I had 3 crews, day shift, night shift, and a mid-shift crew, to basically keep that plane maintained and configured for all of the flight test missions.
That's so crazy. How much do you think they put into that annually? Like,
what's that?
How much a year do you think they put into that with all the crew, maintenance, parts, fuel?
I mean, these programs, these are some of the biggest, most funded programs in the government. So, I mean, they're billions.
It's crazy.
With a B.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there were some missions that I was, my plane flew that I was in charge of getting ready the plane for. They were so, like, we probably did $1 billion mission.
Jeez.
Like, because we would send up, like, my jet, a handful of other jets, and we would go to all the unmentioned places like Area 51 and White Sands, New Mexico, and all these places that are in the news now for where, what's going on there. We'd go out there, but then we would be shooting down drones and all this stuff, and some of our missions were so important and high profile that the Vice President of the United States was watching remotely.
Really?
Yeah, it was wild.
Dude, what's the like background check or like papers that you signed of like non-disclosure about all that?
Yeah, I had a top secret security clearance.
That's so sick.
And so that's like your security level, secret or top secret. Then I had the thing that really matters is
wait, so there's secret and then top secret?
Yeah.
Which one did you have?
Top secret.
Really?
Yeah. And then there's like some other ones you can get into if you really get deep into it.
Yeah.
But the thing that really matters.
This is the backside of the Superstition Mountains right here.
Oh, okay.
So we cover a lot of ground really fast.
Yeah. How high are we?
So we're like 300 feet off the ground, but we're 3,600 above sea level.
So another 1,000.
Yeah. So Falcon Field sits at 1,400, so like 2,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but what really matters, though, with your security clearance is I had special program access. All these things, this is what you're asking about. This is what you get read into. So they say, hey, we're going to tell you about this special capability or program or thing.
Yeah.
You have to go into literally a room that's a vault. Like you leave your phone outside, they spin the combo, they badge in, you go in, it's soundproof, and it's a vault. And then they tell you, okay, here's what you're learning, here's what you're going to get into, and you literally have to sign, okay, if I ever tell anyone, this is what I agree to have happen to me, essentially.
And you're like, and it's put away in prison for life.
Oh yeah, basically forever. Yeah, and I had to do that multiple times.
That's kind of scary, man.
Yeah, man, look at this. So I was in there. So F-35 was, my second venture. So now I'm in like my 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th years of aviation.
Yeah. Hey, what a crazy life, dude.
Dude, it was so cool. I mean, we were blowing up tanks. We were shooting drones out of the air. I have pieces of shrapnel from stuff that we killed.
So you would like prep the plane, get it ready, and then you could be able to go watch the mission somewhere on like a monitor.
Yeah,
that's
so
pretty
essentially
cool.
like usually like a couple weeks, if not even a month beforehand, or maybe a few days, we would hear what we'd learn what the mission was, how the plane had to be configured with weapons. Is it stealth or is it visible? Like what all these different things we had to do. So we'd get it ready, and then we do the mission briefs, and then the day of we'd go either take the plane out to where it was going to launch from or launch it from our spot.
Yeah.
And then I was on the headset, this exact same headset I'm wearing today.
Yeah.
I was on the headset, I was watching a computer with the technicians, all the parameters of the engines and all this stuff, and talking to the pilot if need be. And then they'd send it off, and we'd hand off control and communication over to the control room, which was another room just full of engineers.
Wow.
They were just watching all the parameters. So like if we were streaming telemetry right now, they could see the RPMs, they could see the speed, they could see literally everything happening. And we're recording all of it. That's how we get our flight test data to know if the mission's successful or not.
That's so sick. Can you talk about any of the missions yet, or no, it's like forever you can't talk about them?
It's probably forever because they're brand new. But I can tell you in general, like we tested a lot of weapons capabilities. We tested a lot of communications and a lot of things that people don't realize about our fighter jets these days. They're like, ooh, the F-35 is slower than this one Russian jet or whatever. It's like, our jets are so good. We have a net. We fly in like a digital net. So if we're flying right now, if we were in combat, say we're in a jet, even if we were out of weapons, if Adam over there is in another jet like 20 miles away and he has a target, and vice versa, he can paint a target for us and we can fire for him.
No way.
Yeah.
That's
and
crazy.
then even like the helmet we were testing, we'd wear a helmet. Like if we were dogfighting right now, there was a guy coming up behind us. You could literally turn, lock on, and fire, and keep going straight, and the missile will come off and go get him.
No way.
Yeah, so we tested all that
because
stuff.
the guns and everything like follow wherever you're looking, right?
Yeah, so it's all sensors. So it's the radar and all the different things that we have. The smart weapons, it would shoot out straight, and then it would just take off, and you would just keep going that way or wherever.
So sick. Dang, man. So why'd you want to get out of that? This is the top of, we're coming up on Flatiron up here. You've probably done this hike like 100 times.
I actually have not done Flatiron.
Really?
No.
I haven't either, man. We should do it together.
Let's do it.
My wife has been trying to talk me into it, and I mean, it's not like I'm against it, but I just say like I fly over it so much but it's a different perspective.
Dude,
I figured you would have hiked this like once a day, man.
No, yeah. I've done the Grand Canyon about 5 times, and I've done a lot of big hikes, but I haven't done this yet. We should definitely do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so the reason I got out of that whole career is pretty... Some people are like, dude, what are you talking about? Why would you do that?
That sounds so sick.
Like, I was one of those guys, like, I didn't have, like, a big issue in my life. Like, I didn't go to prison. I didn't have, a big dependency on something that, it almost ruined my life or anything like that. Like, I tried to always do the right thing.
Yeah.
I joined the Navy, and I went to college, and I got a job, and I did what I was supposed to do. But even though I did all those things, and I quote-unquote did what I was supposed to do, like, it didn't work out for me. Like, I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't happy. I hit a ceiling.
Okay.
And the way that came was I was progressing really well through that flight test world. I was getting awards and, all sorts of stuff. I was just, new jobs, new bonuses, and
that's what I was gonna say. Does it have a pretty good like tier up for pay and
Yeah, for the most part, it does. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was winning awards all the time for various things, and so I applied for another job to be a senior manager, and essentially I won the job. So the director of the whole flight test department, he calls me in. He goes, "Hey, Justin," he's like, "You won. I want you for the job. Like, you're proving you can do it.
Yeah.
You know, everything is going perfect, right?" And he goes, "However," and I go, "What do you mean, however?" He's like, "However, HR says you need another 10 to 15 years of experience before they will let me give you the job."
10 to 15 years?
Yeah, I was like, "Dude, I already have a bachelor's degree. My master's is almost secured. You've already told me I'm the best at what I do. Like, I've been doing this now at that point for almost like 14 years if you include the Navy."
Wow.
I'm like, "Dude, there's no way I'm sitting here for 10 more years just to get that job."
Yeah.
And I was like, "You're
was
the
it like
director."
another 100 grand a year, 50 grand?
Yeah, it was probably like another like 60 grand.
Wow.
I was like, "Dude, what are you talking about?" You
Yeah.
know? And so I was like, "Dude, you're the director. You can't just like, wave a magic wand or something." And long story short, he was like, "No, HR had his hands tied." So that was my big light bulb moment where I was like, "You know what? I'm not going to sit here anymore."
Yeah.
Because
at this time you're 28.
At this point I was probably about 28.
Okay. And how old are you now?
I just turned, I'm not just turned, I'm 40 now.
Cool.
Yeah, in October.
Okay.
Yeah, so then I was like, "You know what, dude? Like, I know what I'm capable of, and I'm not going to sit here and just wait 10 years for that job." So it was within about 6 months, I ditched my master's degree. We sold my brand new house that we had just built with my wife and I in California. We left one of my stepdaughters, Christina, in California because she wanted to stay. And we packed up and moved to Arizona.
Dang.
Like, it was just one of those times where it's like, I just knew so clearly that I had to get out.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't for me to just sit here and wait anymore.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I talk to people a lot about is like, look, just because you're in this career, even if you're 10, 14 years in like I was, it doesn't mean you have to stay there forever if that's not your thing.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not taking you where you want to go, like, what is the point? Like, I knew I wanted to go here, and I knew that path was not going to get me there, so I had to make some drastic changes and get out of that.
Which, it's one thing to say and then to actually do.
That's right.
Like, you said you built a house, you're comfortable in California, you left, your stepdaughter there, and then you're like, "Hey, I don't know what's next, I'm just coming over." Like, that takes some balls, man.
Yeah, it took some major balls, So originally I was going to open a brewery out here, so everything I've done, I've always gone all in too. So even when I was still working at Lockheed, I went to SDSU to start your own brewery school. I started like brewing beer. I started like doing all this stuff because I was going to open a brewery. So we originally moved out here to open a brewery, and long story short, we did not, and I'm grateful we didn't. But I learned so much about the beer world and the drink world, the nightlife, all that kind of stuff that it really helped get to my first business of Earn Your Booze.
Yeah.
But you're right, man. Like, most people, like, there were so many people I worked with at Lockheed that when I was leaving, they were like, man, they wanted to do it, but they just couldn't fathom actually doing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Dude, I can't fathom staying here. Like, what are you talking about?" Like, I was looking at it the other way,
Had you saved up quite a bit of money at the time, or were you spending it? And like, did you have like 6 months kind of cushion there? Or what?
Yeah, we had a little bit saved up. I mean, not much. I think I probably had a couple $100,000. And, because when we were living in the high desert of California, it's really low cost of living.
Yeah.
So my wife and I we were both engineers, both did college, and kind of do whatever we wanted to do,
Yeah.
So we basically saved up a little bit, sold the house, put what we made from the house in the bank, and moved out here and started to plan for a brewery. And that was my first entrance into what's it like to do your own business.
Well, that's cool that you had that savings, because I think as I talk to entrepreneurs, it's one of the hardest things to be able to start your own business in your 30s is that like you don't really have this cushion there. And a lot of times, like, I've never not been able to open up a company and take money the first 5 years. Like, one of my businesses, Coconut, like, granted, I go for market dominance. I'm putting a ton of money back into marketing. But, I mean, that's because I want to be the biggest. It's been 6 years. I still haven't made any money from Coconut.
Sure.
And, like, a lot of times it's at least 2 years in a business before you can really take money out.
Absolutely.
And so a lot of people just don't take that, that jump because they don't have that cushion. So earn your booze, man. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, well, that's a really good point you said, and that's something that I teach and tell people all the time that want to get into business is you've got to get all in, and be in it for the long haul. You know, because, I started Earn Your Booze in 2017, and we've made money. We've had good success and a lot of wins and all this stuff, but, man, I poured basically everything back in these last, 8 years.
Yep.
You know, that's the way it has to be.
Yeah.
And and now with Earn It All, and we're doing a relaunch of Earn Your Booze here in the next couple months.
Cool.
It's the same thing. It's I don't know, do we make money? I don't know, I guess, but this sometimes it doesn't really seem like it.
Well, that's the thing, and this is where we should probably clarify. You could do your thing and make 60 to probably 100 grand a year, but you're gonna stay stagnant. You're not gonna take over a ton of the market space.
Correct.
You're not gonna be the biggest. If you're wanting to be the biggest and have that dream of retiring and be able to go on vacation and not have to worry too much about it and have managers in place, you gotta keep taking over and you gotta keep putting money back into the business.
It's always reinvesting all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. If the business isn't growing, it's dying.
Yep.
There's never just I made it and now I make X amount per year. No. You can't just sit.
Yeah.
You have to always grow.
So
for sure.
Did you get right? So right when you left, I know you wanted to do the brewery, you didn't. You started, what was that first business, and did you close it down? Are you still doing it a little bit, or was it the earn your booze business back then?
Yeah, so the brewery thing didn't work out. I had a partner that got into solar and stuck with that.
Yeah.
So I ended up helping my buddy James open. There's a Peak Nutrition store at Greenway and 64th Street.
Okay.
Have you ever been over there by Safeway?
Okay.
I helped open that store, so I was really now deep in on one side the beer and the brewery stuff, and really deep over here in the nutrition and supplementation. I was working with First Form as a Legionnaire, so both of my worlds really just collided together,
Okay.
So the first business was Earn Your Booze, and that thing took off right away. We were in Men's Health Magazine.
Oh.
We were in Liquor.com, Chilled Magazine, and I was speaking at nightlife conventions and bartender conventions and all these things, because that world of nightlife and bartending, there's no health and wellness in there, and if there is, it's kind of weak. There was no real approach to hey, you can actually do this.
Yeah.
But you got to work for it. You know what I mean?
It's such a cool name because it just it's one of those things right when you hear it, you know what it means. You're yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So
There's no explanation. Yeah, so essentially we did that up until COVID, and it was going great. I had an international tour playing with Milagro Tequila.
Dang.
We were doing events at Salt River Fields here where the Diamondbacks and Rockies do spring training.
Yeah.
Things were just going awesome, but then COVID essentially ruined it because I was so heavy in the event space. We were doing events across the country, and when COVID hit, all the venues shut down, and all the liquor sponsors, which is the main way that we kind of funded it, all those guys pulled their money back because they had to focus on selling direct, to the stores and stuff like that.
Well, tell me what the business is. So I love the concept, okay. Earn Your Booze. What is it?
Yeah.
So when you say you were doing events, what were you promoting at those events?
Yeah. So you said when you hear Earn Your Booze, it's kind of what it means. But we always did events that were essentially fitness and social events combined together.
Okay.
And the reason we did that was, first off, you show up and we do a big group workout.
Okay.
We did either CrossFit or yoga or Pilates or boot camp. We did 5Ks, you name it, all sorts of stuff. And then right after that, we would have a big party with a DJ, sponsored drinks and all that kind of stuff. And we would always infuse the liquor brand into it, because imagine a liquor brand that wants to have a health initiative, but they can't because they make liquor. So Don Julio was one of our big sponsors for a long time, Don Julio Tequila.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't do jumping jacks, we'd do jumping Julios.
Okay.
So we just infused them in so they could get credit essentially for this fitness experience.
So.
And the big reason we did that was so when it's you or Lexi, when people would come out to this Earn Your Booze thing, they would feel what it was. It wasn't just here, Earn Your Booze. No, you actually sweat, actually have fun. You actually get beat up, and now you get to have this tasty drink, meet new friends, and all that. So that's why we did so many events. But basically, we were growing an apparel brand, and essentially it's a lifestyle brand through events and social media.
Yeah.
And events was the best way to do that, because you got all the media you needed. You met all the people. People got to come out and experience it. But essentially, COVID shut that down because we lost the ability to do events.
Dang.
So here's where, like, you know, if you want to get into business, this is where you got to be really good at pivoting and adapting. And I know a lot of, like, my aerospace, you know, experience comes in when things go wrong, because we then had to get into apparel for like 2 years, like selling online because of COVID. But everybody else was selling online as well, you know, like, so it's extremely difficult. We spent a lot of money and like broke even, which is like, okay, good. We like kind of broke even and kept the brand alive, but
we'll take that win for now.
But man, that kind of sucked too, you know?
Yeah.
But the number one question we always got with Earn Your Booze was, well, how do I earn it? Like, cool, I get this. This is my lifestyle. I like to work hard. I like to have some drinks. But what does that mean? How do I earn it?
Yeah.
So we launched Earn It All about 1.5 years ago as the answer. This is where we do all of our physical training. So we have programs, like 90-day programs. We have high-level, like, one-on-one custom programs where we work with, like, CEOs and executives and business owners, because I feel like we really get that lifestyle, you know?
Yeah.
And we do corporate wellness too, and because our goal is really to get as many people as healthy as possible, but really get that earn it mentality back that I feel like we had in like the 50s and 60s, where people are like actually willing to go out and work.
Right.
You know, like we're trying to like install that back too through the way that we do our programs and our fitness and our messaging. So now we have both.
I love that, man. It's just so hard. Like, I freaking work my butt off, dude. I work out for probably 1.5 hours, probably 2 hours a day, because I do cardio in the morning, then I'll go to the gym for an hour, 1.5 hours. And then I try and eat as healthy as I can. It's expensive, especially when you're eating out, right?
Yeah.
And so I just look around. It's like, dude, the odds are stacked against us because there's fast food everywhere. Like, not many people have 2 hours a day to work out. No wonder everyone's so fat and overweight and out of energy.
That's right. And even the healthy options out there, we're finding out are not even healthy.
Well, I was watching some of your videos this morning, and like I can taste, like, literally when there was a food truck that I went to, because I went to Jason Payne's event, and I'm not trying to talk crap on this food truck, but it was like they were talking about like all this top tier steak and sirloin. As soon as I eat that meat, man, like I can feel it in my stomach. I'm like, oh, that was bad quality.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head right there. It's quality.
Yes.
Quality of food. So here's what's crazy is like a lot of people that are even trying their best to eat as healthy as possible, live as healthy as possible, they might still be buying lower quality meat, maybe for the cost.
Yeah.
And what happens is what you just said. You get bloating, you get irritated, like you just kind of feel uneasy in your stomach. And like, I love red meat probably more than just as much as anybody. But I stopped eating steak for about 6 months a couple years ago because I was sick and tired of just farting and being bloated and gassy and miserable.
It was all about the quality.
Yeah, it was all the quality. So, and we thought we were buying the good stuff. We'd buy our steak at Costco. We'd buy the regular stuff, the select, select choice, whatever.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? No, I love steak so much. Let me go back. Let me do prime. Let me buy the grass-fed stuff. Let me see if it's BS or not. And lo and behold, it's not. Like, now when I eat prime and grass-fed steak, good, no issues whatsoever. So food quality, and this is across the board, especially for chicken, but chicken, beef, bison, most stuff you get at the store is lower quality, and it's not really even feeling good when we eat it.
But it's crazy. So expensive, dude.
It is.
And it's so, like, a lot of people are struggling to pay their utilities or car bill. Like, so how does someone stay fit when they don't have a ton of money to go buy, the grass-fed beef and all this stuff? It's almost like, in my opinion, and this is where I'd want you to say, like, no, like, it seems almost impossible.
Yeah. So here's what I tell people, and hear me out on this, like, it's priority. A lot of people, not everybody, of course, but a lot of people do actually have the money available to eat healthy, but it's being spent on things that shouldn't be spent on. Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, all these different things add up.
How much do you think it is for one person to eat like the way that you're talking about versus like the lower quality? Is it $500? Is it $200?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Most people, here's the biggest thing I think for most people is eating out.
Yeah. Well, because it's cheaper.
Usually, but if you go out to dinner, what you're getting is so expensive.
Yeah.
Like if you go out, like say we go have a nice steak dinner and steaks are like $60, let's just say, right?
Yeah.
You know how much like meat you can get for $60? I can buy a whole pack of prime steaks for $60.
At Costco.
And that'll give me 5 or 6 steaks.
Yeah.
That's 5 or 6 meals for the price of one. So a lot of people, if they would just cut back on eating out and just focus on like a high quality protein, then I think they can start to get there. But
It's just like anything in life. You have to be intentional then, right?
you got to be intentional, and it really sometimes all it takes is a 1 degree shift. We're flying straight right now.
Right.
Like if you just do 1 degree to the left,
We're going somewhere completely
and we go an
different.
hour,
Yeah.
we're going somewhere completely different. You can do that with your nutrition and your health too. You know, it doesn't mean you have to completely give up, you know, all the fun stuff you like to eat or drink.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just, you know, being a little more intentional.
I love
You know,
that.
it is definitely possible for sure.
So this is funny, man. Like I've been on this journey. Like I'm a skinny fat kid, right? Like I got, you know, after high school, I went on a mission for my church, and I feel like that's where I like got the little gut, you
Sure.
know. And I've been trying to get rid of this gut, like the last little bit, right, for literally 10 years.
Yeah.
Did Ironmans, did marathons, like all the things I was like, and I would be eating healthy, like desserts hurt my stomach. And so naturally, like I really don't eat ice cream and all that. It's like once in a while I will, but
Yeah.
like I'm not that guy eating it, like maybe once, twice a month. Like I feel like I was pretty healthy, but couldn't get rid of this gut. Within the past like month, I finally got rid of it through intermittent fasting and just eating like clean, like no carbs, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, hallelujah. But it took literally like 10 years to really like get to where I'm back to being happy with my body again. When someone's 30, and that was with me being like maybe 10, 15 pounds overweight.
Sure.
When someone's 40, 50 pounds overweight, are you telling them like go hard for a couple of years before you like have that cheat meal or before you earn your booze? Or it's like, no, find something that works for you that's scalable. Maybe start out with every other weekend or start out with just the weekends. Like what's your advice to that guy that's 30 to 50 pounds overweight?
So for that guy, or really for any goal, I think the number
Or
one,
girl.
the number one thing that we try to help somebody with is to find a sustainable plan.
Okay.
Because you could crash diet through something, you know what I mean? Like if you got to lose 50 pounds, you could really suffer, kind of starve yourself, be miserable and lose it.
Yeah.
But that's
Not
not
gonna
fun,
stay off.
and it's going to come back. So we basically help people live a sustainable lifestyle. And especially when you got 30, 40, 50 pounds, that's actually a little bit easier to get like a quick win.
Yeah.
Because we can identify some issues in the lifestyle right away that'll make a lot of that come off right away.
Like 20 pounds right away.
Yeah, right away. A lot of
I think that's the biggest thing. Like you got to see those wins.
for sure,
or else
gotta
you're
see
gonna
those
quit.
ones, for sure. You know, because like if you're a guy like you who's in good shape and you just got like 10 pounds or you just got trying to lose the last layer or whatever,
Right.
that can actually be a lot harder.
Oh, dude, it's been,
A lot harder.
yeah.
You know, so but we know how to do that too. You know, so but it just depends.
No homo, man. I was checking out your pictures. I'm like, this guy's got freaking the best body,
Hey,
dude.
thanks,
He's freaking
man.
jacked.
Thanks, dude.
So I know it comes with a lot of work, dude. So that's
It really
cool.
does.
I want you to get into, we got like probably 10, 15 minutes left.
Yeah.
I want you to get into these retreats that you're doing with guys. And
Okay,
like
for sure.
how powerful they are and what you're doing.
Yeah. So we have a retreat called True North Men's Development Camp. We call it in Sedona. It's coming up on July 24th. And a big reason that we're doing that is because, like, we need it. Like, I need it. Like, the guys that I know, we all want more for ourselves. And it's really hard to get it when we just stay in our bubble of work and family and gym and stuff like that. We need more, you know. So we go out to True North and we lift, we call it physical, mental, and spiritual and tactical weights.
Yeah.
So we get out there and we test ourselves around other guys because most guys go to the gym like we do, right? We go to the gym all the time. But if we don't really test our abilities, it's like, am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why am I working
Okay.
so hard? Do I need to lift this hard? Do I need to try to sprint that hard?
Yeah.
And so we need to be tested every once in a while to see what we're capable of. And the best way to do that, in my opinion, is to be around other guys that are also trying to level themselves up. You know, so we develop these retreats to basically help guys like leave their regular life behind for a couple days and start to like think about who they really need to become to go to the next level.
Dang.
So we have every minute of this thing is intentional. You know, like Tyler actually is going to do some teachings at it.
Cool.
But every minute of it is intentional with like why we wake up at a certain time and what we do next. And like everything is interwoven to basically help like poke holes in our game.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's a lot of it's mental, but you know, some of it's physical. So that's easy to identify. Hey, we need to get in better shape.
Yeah.
But then a lot of it is like, well, what kind of stuff have you buried your whole life? Maybe for the last 5, 10, 20, 30 years, maybe your whole life that, you know, you needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
You know, like what kind of things are we keeping inside of us that we're ashamed of that we let affect, you know, our regular life? You know, everyone has different things.
Yeah.
And so the point is to basically finally get to a spot where we can tap into that a little bit and look at it a little bit.
Is the point to break people there? I know you're saying poke holes, but like, are you trying to get them to breaking points?
It's not necessarily, not like in like a Navy SEAL boot camp type way, but it's more like even just giving us the time, and I say us, like us men, giving us the time to even address something in our mind that, you know, we always keep, you know, hidden.
Yeah.
You know, so some of it is like physical. Like we it's a go ruck event as well. So everybody, we're gonna ruck up Pyramid Mountain and Beaver Creek. You know, have some good workouts. But then we got some special forces guys coming out that are basically teaching us how to actually handle a weapon.
So
like with like airsoft and laser targets and stuff like that. Because even guys that shoot, once you get around a pro, you're like, oh, hold on, I don't know shit.
Yeah.
So really the point is to basically identify holes in all of our games so we can address it. Because otherwise it's very easy for us to kind of just stay in our own mind and stay where we're at.
Yeah.
And nobody wants that. Like a business, the business has to grow where it dies. And I feel like now I'm at 40, I have to either keep evolving and getting better and you know, just progressing myself to another level, or I feel like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do as a man.
That's awesome.
And as a father and husband and everything.
So they're 2 days long?
They're 4.
They're 4 days long.
Yeah.
You just leave your family for 4 days and go hang out with a bunch of dudes.
That's right.
Dang, man. How much is it? Like, what does it look like?
So we have shared rooms, which I think is great for most guys because trying to get uncomfortable a little bit. So you have your own bed, but it's in a room with another guy. But that's $2,000 all inclusive.
Yeah.
All the way up to like a private bungalow where you have your own key to get in your own house for $4,000.
Okay.
But everything's included though. So my friend that we do the retreat with, they own a farm down by Tucson. So all the food is true farm to table organic food. All the beef is grown and slaughtered and butchered right there.
Yeah.
It's all chef prepared. Like literally everything is included. So yeah, you still have access to your phone. We don't like throw it in a box or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, hey, honey, I'm going to go away for 4 days because I want to come back a better man for you.
That's cool.
And if you say it like that, like I think it'd be kind of hard for her to be like, nah, don't do it. You know.
Do you do those once a quarter, or how often are you doing them?
So the first one that we were just a part of was with Levels, was with Tyler a few months ago.
Okay.
So this one is in July, and we're going to aim for probably every quarter.
Cool.
Yeah. So I took your balance test.
Oh, nice.
I got a 126 out of 200.
So you were honest with yourself.
Yeah.
I love it. How were you though, like balancing every area?
Let's see, right here.
Dude, you're pretty leisure. Dang. Relationships, spiritual. I love that your wellness is high, man. That's dope. Was that helpful?
It was very helpful. And I'd like to share this with some people because, you know, people talk about balance sometimes. They think about just like work and then fun.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more to it. Like your 9 things are wellness, growth, love, environment, relationships, leisure, spiritual, money, well-being, and career. And they really do have their own categories. Like I don't think like a career can just cover all of it. You know, like are you fulfilled in your career even if you are making the money you want? Maybe not.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's very good. And back to the entrepreneur thing, like, yeah, my lowest score was in leisure. Because even though I get to do fun stuff, like, this is amazing.
That's great.
Like,
yeah.
I love this. And I was just in Sedona the other day, but it's like everything I do now is still work.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ever going to have a real vacation again. Maybe. But, like, everything's just still work. So, like, sometimes it's like, man, am I ever really going to get a real mental break?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And even, like, your leisure, like, you were out, because I would have thought, okay, you went up to Sedona. Sedona is such, like, a relaxing, chill place. But, no, like, you were working, you were getting content for your
I had a
for your
drone
event.
flying over me as I was backflipping into the river and swimming more than I wanted to swim,
That's so
and hiking,
sick.
and you know what I mean. Yeah, like, I'll tell you like the last thing that I'll tell you the main thing that I tell people, like when I left that career in aerospace, people didn't understand it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't even really understand what I was getting into either. But now that I've been doing it for coming up on like 9 years or so, there's 5 things that I like to tell people that are thinking about ditching whatever they're doing because they want to do their own business. Because right now, everyone thinks they want to be an entrepreneur. Everybody says they're going to start a brand. Everyone's going to start a business, and that's great. But the 5 things are this. Like, number 1 is to make a plan. So, like, whatever industry you want to get into, research what that industry has been, where it is now, and where it's going, and, like, really, like, make a plan how you're going to stand out, how you're going to be better than everybody else, what your niche is, what your value proposition is, why it's different, stuff like that. Like, make a plan. Don't just jump in.
Right.
You know, so that's step 1. And then step 2, we talked about this a little bit earlier, is be ready to throw that plan in the trash. You know, like, it doesn't mean like ditch your North Star of where you want to go.
Yeah.
But chances are that first, second, third, even fourth plan you make to get there might not be the way that you actually get there.
Yeah, you need to adjust, and that's okay.
That's
totally
okay. Cool. Yeah, that's great because you learn along the way. You have to take those lessons and apply it to your plan, and that means your plan's going to change.
Yeah.
So be ready to ditch it and do whatever it takes to win. And then number 3 is communicate with your family along the way. Make sure you don't lose your family. It's not good enough to tell the wife and the kids, hey, someday I'm going to make all this money and we'll go to Barbados and, you know, we'll have a helicopter and we're going to have all the cool presents and all that stuff someday.
Yeah.
They're not going to be there with you if that's the mentality. You've got to at least communicate with them and let them know why you're gone on the weekends. Why are you doing all this stuff? Why are you working so hard? At least keep them in the loop so they feel like they're a part of it. You know, I love that because I didn't do that very well, but I just got lucky that I had a great wife. Some of my business partners didn't, and they, like, almost all of them went through divorces because of, like, what you're saying right there. That's so powerful. You have to be on the same page, or else it won't end well at all. Totally. And, like, if you're married, like, you got to remember, like, he or she is your business partner. Even if they're not working day to day with you, like, you got to treat them like your business partner so they understand the effort and the time away from them and stuff like that. You know?
Yeah, I love that.
And then I could go into that all day. Like, I like to schedule weekly date nights and all these kind of things too. But that's the number 3. Number 4 is believe in yourself, like, to the core.
That one's probably the most difficult.
You know, it really is. And, like, especially like when you have business partners and you have investors and you have people that are, you know, as coaches and stuff like that, you put a lot of belief in them.
Yeah.
But you have to have that belief. Otherwise, those people are going to leave at some point for one reason or another.
Yeah.
You know, so, like, it's going to be the most difficult thing ever. Chances are it's going to take more time, more energy, more money, more everything. And if you don't have that core belief in yourself, I mean, I feel like that you're probably not going to make it.
Yeah.
So you got to believe in yourself. Even when you really don't, like, just tell yourself you're a badass. Just tell yourself you got it. It is so hard, you know? Oh, this is sick.
So this is Sycamore Creek. You've probably been out here riding quads or whatever.
Wow, yeah. This is beautiful, man. So then the last one, number 5, is start now. Like, you cannot research your way to being ready.
Yeah.
You just can't. You've got to you have to start because you have to be in that fire. You have to be in the mix of making these decisions, living with the consequences, good or bad, of those decisions.
Yeah.
In order to really, you know, get better and understand what it's going to take to win. And the only way to really get going is to start.
Yep. I love that, man. Most of the people that come to your retreats or that you're coaching, are they entrepreneurs? Are they people that you're trying to motivate that maybe are working for corporate America and looking to leave? Or, like, who are they?
It's both, for sure.
Cool.
Like, we have a lot of guys that own businesses, you know, tequila companies, construction brands, like, you name it, like, all sorts of different businesses. But then there's definitely a lot of people that are like, hey, I'm trying to, like, build a bigger, better life.
Yeah.
And I'm attending all these seminars. I'm reading all these books. I'm listening to all these podcasts, and it's still not happening for me. And so they come to us, and one thing that I always try to like give, and have them do is action. Like actually do these things, you know, which is how I got out of aerospace. So on my wristband, it says action over words. And so I try to always get these guys, especially that are trying to get out of a career or even a business owner that wants to go to the next level. Like, it's going to take action.
Yeah.
Of course, it's going to take money and business plans and all that shit too. But like, when it comes down to it, it's you taking action. Like, you are the key to this thing working or not.
That's
and,
so,
you know?
Well, sorry to cut you off. I was just going to say, like, Tommy Mello, one of my mentors, he'll get up and be like, hey, I'm no more special than anyone in here.
Yeah.
I just take action. Like, when I leave this conference, I'm going to go implement. Half you guys, 99% of you guys in this room won't take any action. That's why you won't move forward. He's like, and I'm just going to tell you right now, like, it's the people that take action.
That's right.
That get the change. It's not, you know, their skill, how smart they are, or anything like that. It's just straight work.
No, it's 100%. Action is literally everything. And that's what I, you know, tell people all the time. If you're going to a seminar, I just gave a lady this advice the other day. I was like, look, if you go there, great. But make sure you get the tactical advice you want out of it. It was something to do with, I think it was like wholesale real estate.
Yeah.
Ask the real questions about percentages and money down and investing and capital and all this stuff. Don't just leave there hyped up.
Yeah.
Take something away from that event that you can actually put into action.
I love
you know,
it,
like for sure.
Who did you have that helped you like get away like from the Navy? Like you had to have a buddy or something, right?
From aerospace?
Yeah.
Well, the mental push that helped me get out of it was Andy Frisella.
Okay.
Listening to his podcast.
Yeah.
For sure, he helped me make that initial leap out of it. And then what was your other question?
Well, I don't know, when you're like, we're talking about action and leaving, and that's why what you're doing is so awesome with these retreats and this brotherhood.
Yeah.
Is that like you need somebody you need an accountability partner, right?
Yeah.
Like you need someone that's like, hey, yeah, did you run tonight? Did you go to the gym? Are you leaving? Like, what's the next step? It does. Like, you haven't. Who was that guy for you that helped you leave and finally start?
Man, that's a good. I mean, again, Priscilla did it through his podcast.
Cool.
And I met him a few times before, like during that transition phase, which was cool. But man, along the way, I've had different people. You know, like my business partners are big right now. You know, because like we're all essentially married in business. You know.
Yeah.
But along the way, like everyone should have a coach, in my opinion. Probably multiple coaches.
Yeah.
But you got to find the one that resonates with you. So Sean Whalen has been huge for me. My these last many years, and now we can become friends now. But like you got to find a coach that actually gets you to take action. That's how I judge if it's the right coach or not. Like it doesn't matter how cool they are or what their following is or anything. Like, do they actually inspire you and make you take action? Cool. Then pay that person money, buy their courses. Pay for their membership, buy their books, read their stuff, wear their shirts. Like learn from them, especially if they've been where you want to go.
Yeah, I hired a coach in 2018, and it literally changed my life, man. So,
I mean, everybody needs them.
Yeah.
Like everyone, I think, especially like you mentioned, like, did you run yesterday? I think everybody should have a health coach because that is the easiest thing to start slipping on. It really is, because a lot of us know what to do.
Yeah.
But do we actually do it?
Right.
Like how if you can pay whatever it is to actually have that accountability to do it and get the health where you need it, boom. I think that's the major win, because without our health, we have nothing.
Yeah, I agree, man.
I used to, do you know Andy Elliott?
Yeah.
I used to run his fitness division.
Oh, really?
Over here for about a year, all in 2023, and this is our spot right over here.
Yeah, I was going to say, we did a training with them a couple of months ago. This is the street you turn on, right? It's right up here?
Let me see where we're
Pretty
at.
sure.
Yeah. It is so different from the air. Yeah, I see it right there. Yeah.
Yeah, there's next level. Well, dang, dude, I wish we had another hour worth of fuel. I appreciate you coming up, man.
Dude, of course.
You're changing lives. I love what you're doing with the brotherhood and holding people accountable. You definitely inspired me, and I'm excited for people to listen to this, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Where's it at? It's right.
It's right here. See
next to the
lion?
church. Yep.
Yeah. The line around the middle. Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
We're almost out of fuel, so I'm gonna head back, but we'll do the intro really quick. Did that work, Lexi? Is there anything else that you feel like we're missing?
I mean, if you wanted to hit the nail on the head about, Justin, you and I talked about how men are becoming very feminine and women are becoming very masculine. For the guy that's stuck in the cubicle, that's in his hamster wheel life, and he's overweight and whatever, like, what would you tell him to, hey, like, doing hard things is fulfilling. Like, you have to, that's where you find masculinity. That's where you can find yourself and fulfillment. What would you say to him?
So our role as men throughout society, throughout history as men, has been to essentially establish a perimeter and protect it and expand it and take care of people inside it. And the only way to do that is by our own capability. Like, how capable are we as men? So if you're sitting in a cubicle and you're overweight and you don't like your job, like, I get it. Like I've been there. Like, I ditched my cubicle. Like, I totally get that. And I think one of the best ways to break out of that, especially mentally, is to just accept your role as a man. Accept your role that you have to be dangerous, you have to be a protector, you have to be a provider. And the easiest way to do that is to get into great shape. When you start to get into great shape, really what we're doing is we're using the body to beat that mind into submission, to show the mind that we are who we say we are, to build up our confidence, to be someone worthy of being called a leader. So I think the easiest way to do that is to get around other men that believe that and live that. So whether that's, again, like, it could be as simple as listening to a podcast and hearing something and taking action. Or maybe you need more. Maybe you need an immersive experience and you need to come out to a retreat and actually be out of your normal environment for 4 days. But if you can actually take your role as a man seriously and put the work behind it, I think that's how you get fulfilled. Because as your body changes, your mind changes, your capabilities increase, you start to get more confident, you like who you are in the mirror, you like who you are in your own head. Now you're like, oh, damn, I understand now what it means to be a man. That was before, like, even if you're still in a cubicle, you can still be a jacked, capable, confident man in a cubicle. Like, you don't have to go down this path that everybody else goes down, because most of society is getting weak, especially men. Men are getting so weak. Like, we're making masculinity be kind of like a rare thing now. Yeah. A thing that kind of
gets... That's what, to see someone jacked like you walking down the street, you're like, oh, who's this guy?
Right. It automatically goes, oh, man, who is this? So, like, now imagine, like, walking into a business meeting. Okay, this guy, if nothing else, like, forget looks. Everyone at the table is at least probably going to think, okay, this guy has some discipline.
Yep.
And I'm willing to bet if he's working on himself that hard, he'll probably work on this contract or this partnership as hard.
Exactly.
So it's just showing that you have the discipline and, what it takes to be a capable man in other areas of life.
I've never met anyone that went through, like, a really hard workout that didn't feel better about themselves.
Always
or didn't enjoy it. Like, you can't, like, you might be tired and sore and all those things, but the dopamine and just, like, the self-esteem after is just next level. Like, I've never met anyone that's like, oh, I wish I didn't do that.
Right.
So.
No, you're exactly right. Because there's so many women that are just seemingly, like, now taking over, like, the alpha space. And it's like, that's cool. Like, my wife is very direct and very strong.
Yeah.
But, like, that just means we need to be stronger. And it doesn't mean that we don't, have a soft side. And, of course, we still have to, show up for our kids and our wives and all that. But, like, we got to always be getting stronger.
Yeah. I love that. Let's creep up on these paddle boarders, man.